Welcome back to the Purpose Driven Investor Podcast. This show is about people behind the deals, their mission, their values, the impact they're creating to real estate and entrepreneurship. Today I have John on the call with me, and he's built a business investing in individual mobile homes and mobile home parks, and now he's helping others do the same across the country. I'm excited to have John on. We've known each other for a bit, and I think he's got a great story to share. So hang in with us, and welcome to the show, John.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Robert. I'm really happy to be here. Yeah.
All right. Well, good deal. Well, John, let's start with kind of where you got going, how you got into this world, what you were doing before. So let's start first with take us back to what you were doing before mobile homes.
Working dead-end jobs that I knew I had more to give. I was working at Alltel cell phone, if you remember Alltel back in the day, and then also a valet, and I was doing those two things. It just, I think I had like so many jobs before I found real estate, just because I was so unhappy. I know there was more for me at the time. I wasn't a very good school person. Like I didn't. I think there's some people that more gravitate towards school, and I would have gone down that road, but everything just seems so slow, and just I didn't want to go to school for 8 years or 10 years to then get a degree and then work and then finally build my paycheck up to something substantial. It's like I wanted it now. And luckily real estate, while I was doing Alltel, while I was doing the valet, I remember like reading my roommate's course at the time for real estate investing. I found it on his shelf, and I'm like flipping through the pages as I'm like watching for cars coming, and like, oh, you can use real estate. I'm like 19, living with my mom. You can use real estate as like making money. Like that doesn't seem. I thought they were just houses. You lived in a house, and so that's was the awesome spark of the.
Dude, Alltel, that's like a long time ago. It's funny you say that, because one of my first jobs in event marketing, we were talking a little bit before this, but one of my first jobs was 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls and promoting that at NASCAR races.
Oh, wow. Okay, I was going to say, what was your role in that? Wow, wow.
We had these old payphones set up, and it was like, how fast could you dial 1-800-CALL-ATT?
I think I remember those commercials too.
Yeah. It's pretty catchy. Cool. Well, that's cool. So how'd you stumble upon real estate? You told us a little bit. You found a book, it sounds like.
Yeah, I knew there was more for me. I knew I had this fire inside of me. I wanted to I think back then, and I'm going to tell my son this in the future, like you got to put yourself in places where opportunities can find you, or you can find opportunities. Because if I just had my head in the sand and wasn't looking around, I wouldn't have found real estate. Like before real estate, I was trying to, I think, do my own, some other entrepreneurial nonsense that was just because I knew there was so much fire inside of me. So read this book. It was a Ron LeGrand book on real estate, which is kind of like these pie in the sky numbers of like what an ideal deal looks like. But I didn't know. Right. I was a 19-year-old kid. So I'm looking through the pages. I have about $3,000 saved up, and then I do what Ron says. I knock on doors. I'm scared. I knock on doors. I put out bandit signs. I do letters to people. This was in Tampa, Florida, where you could buy a home, clean the window, and make tons of money. This was like the early 2000s. And my first deal, barely anybody called me with houses, and I never went to an appointment. The first appointment I went to was a mobile home, but I didn't know it was a mobile home. She was asking $8,000 for a 4.2 by a lake. I'm like, 4.2 by a lake, 8,000? I must be a good negotiator. Hang up the phone, get in the car, speed there, and I'm nervous, super nervous, because I know this lady's in her 60s-ish, and so she's like 3 times my age. She's in trouble. She's behind on lot rent because it's in a park, and I didn't even know that. I pulled into the park, and I'm like, oh, this was before like MapQuest or Google, and I'm like, I didn't know what I was going into. I was like, oh, this is a park. What does this mean? Okay, well, I know she's motivated. Let me go there, and I can see the home. I know which one it is at the end of the road, and I feel this wave of nervousness coming up. I can almost feel it now when I'm telling the story, and I it just is overwhelming. And I pull the car over and I open the door and I throw up on the side of the road because I'm so nervous.
No way.
Yeah, and I remember pulling down the visor and looking at myself and like wiping my mouth off, just being like, it'd be so much easier. I could just feel so comfortable if I was just on the couch right now and not here. But I didn't. I pushed myself. I remember I had that choice, and I pushed myself to go and talk to this woman and help her out, and realized she was the one that was more scared. Like, she was a good person who was in a bad situation. She was scared. She didn't know her options. I didn't have any money. Like I said, I went through my 3,000 life savings to do like signs, letters, for no avail. I didn't have any deals. And then so I told her, well, listen, I can't pay you. She was asking 8,000. I talked her down to 3, and I said, I'll give you 300 a month for 10 months, and I'll catch up your back lot rent. She was like 2 months behind, I think. And so I got into the home for 300 out of pocket to start the payments. I paid $800 to Roto-Rooter at the time, and I sold that home on payments, because back then, from 2002 to 2015, it was a cash flow game. Mobile homes, cash cows. Well, 2015 to today, they are cash. Well, before it was cash flow cows. Now they're cash cows. We're selling them for cash for the past 11 years, way easier. So now we're actually making cash. Back then it was payments. So I sold that home the first time for 27 grand. I think it was like either 15 or 3 grand down. So I got all my money back on the down payment. Right. And I don't remember how long they stayed there, a year or two, and then they left. And then I sold it again for in the 30s. And then I got it back a couple years later, sold it in the 40s. And then they eventually paid me off like 10 years later. But that opened my eyes. That was the first one. And then during my first year, I had 12 or 14 by the end of the first year. Just mobile homes. It was just, I got into a pattern of mobile homes, and everyone else was turning their noses up. I remember going to the real estate clubs that I was frequenting, and I would just sit there all the time because I was embarrassed. Like, I don't want to tell people what I'm doing because I was embarrassed. I want to be a real estate guy, not a mobile home guy. And then eventually, after 6 months, I said, okay, here's what I've been doing. And they're like, this is awesome. We have leads for you. We don't want this crap. Here, you take our mobile home leads. So I was getting leads from other investors, like that just, and then it was off to the races. So.
Man, that's a great story. And I think your story about how nervous you were resonates, and I think, but how nervous she was. And, whether I go to real estate meetups or go to seminars or masterminds or go talk to sellers, it's easy to forget, like, hey, the person on the other side of the conversation is probably just feeling the exact same way as you, right? And if you let go of that mindset, then you can achieve anything.
That took me so long to understand. In the beginning, I thought it was like a zero-sum game where, if, one of us had to lose, like the buyer or the seller. And it's like, yeah, I thought it was a zero-sum game, but really, we're on the same side. The buyer and seller, the seller wants you to buy the home, and you want to buy the home. So you both want the same thing. And it's important to know who you're talking to. If that woman, that lady I said was my first deal, if she had money, if she didn't need to sell, if she had plenty of time, if she was, most sellers don't need the help of an investor. That's something I realized, like, we are not just, as investors, we're not just looking for a certain kind of property. We'll buy most mobile homes, old ones, new ones. They have to move. There's title, no titles. It's got to be fixed, whatever, in a park, on land. We're looking for the right seller. That's what I learned. It took me like years to learn that, but it's like, we're looking for the right, I'll buy most homes, but I'm looking for like a motivated seller that needs me. And if they don't need me, I'm not going to try to put a square peg in a round hole. Like, good for you. Sell your home, make as much as you can, make $1 million. But if if you're more motivated, or if you need to get out quicker, or if there's title problems, or you're embarrassed or behind on payments or getting foreclosed on, that's when you need the help of an investor. So yeah, having your buyer in mind and the seller in mind. It's amazing that we can be in this business where we're actually helping people. Like, the sellers like us. What a surprise. We're helping them. The buyers like us. And we don't have to like dupe anybody. It's, at least in the mobile home space. I don't know what it's like for $1 million homes, but in the mobile home space, it feels awesome to actually take care of people.
Yeah, problem solver for sure. I like it. The other thing that resonates when you're talking about how you got into this is when you started talking about it, you started getting more opportunities, right? And I think it's so easy to forget. And it reminds me of a conversation I had last week with a group in this real estate mastermind I'm part of, where we're talking about one of my goals is to raise more private lending for the deals that we're doing. And they said, well, are you talking about it? I said, I'm posting online for sure, like post all the time about it. And they're like, yeah, but are you asking people, right? So actually last night I made my first Instagram reel where actually with a call to action talking about it. And as a result, I've already engaged with 2 conversations since last night and about people who, hey, I'm got money and I want to make a better return and this might be the opportunity for you. But all it took was simply asking, right? And telling.
What is it about that? And like bad news travels faster than good news. Like I'm sure there's a lot of scam artists that would be happy to say, lend me money and I'll give you 1,000,000% return. Meanwhile, you have great returns and you're actually doing things ethically and real. And yet and I think this is a personality thing, like me too, I'm more humble, or I don't want to say like brag a bunch or like, hey, give me your money or here. But like when you're a quality person, the world needs more Roberts speaking out, saying like, do it with me because I will actually take care of you and give you a return anyway.
Glad you did that. That's great. Tell more people, right?
That late, yes, you should have been doing that sooner.
yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk about some of the early struggles, some of the first wins that you had. So, you talked about your first deal, which was great. Talk to us about some of the other wins that you had early on.
Like I said, for the first from 2002 to 2015, it was mostly cash flow. So I got real good at creating notes, sometimes selling those notes. When it's a mobile home in a park, it was cash flow, which I loved. I was a cash flow guy. I still am a cash flow guy. That always excited me more than like big lump paydays, because I knew that those paydays would, like, it was feast or famine. But cash flow I always loved. My second deal was a mobile home on land, and the thing that taught me, 2 things. The first one is those people with mobile homes on land, and there's way more mobile homes attached to private land, those folks are the same people. Good people, usually living paycheck to paycheck, don't have a lot of savings. When the crap hits the fan, they need help quickly. They're behind on payments, they're losing their home, they have title problems, home problems, life problems, job problems, health problems, the list goes on. But so the ones in parks and on land are the same people, they get into the same trouble. But the people on land, you can sell those homes for cash. And that was the second deal. My very second deal was a mobile home attached to land, bought the home, bought the land, subject to the underlying loan, because remember, I was broke. And so I did catch up the back mortgage payment, like $3,000. I had $3,000 at the time. And so, or 3 something. Anyway, I caught that back up. I wanted to cash flow that one, but people kept making me cash offers. So I closed on it. I remember walking out of closing after I sold it, like soon after, a couple weeks after I bought it. And I had a check for like just over $40,000, thinking I'm like the richest guy on the planet. And and I felt like the richest guy on the planet. And it's funny, that check, that $40,000 check did more of a feeling than like when I've had much bigger checks, later in life. But like that first huge paycheck was an eye, and like I did this, I created something from nothing, and I actually helped people. The buyer's super happy and thrilled. The seller was very grateful. So that was another big win, was my deal number 2. And then the rest of my first year was mobile homes in parks that I set up for payments, buying them for under $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 cash, selling them for at least $20,000, if not more, on payments. Whenever I sell on payments, I want to break even. And this was even back then. I want to break even in my first 1 to 12 months. So all the money I have in the deal, I want to get back 1 to 12 months. 400, it used to be 300 minimum cash flow. Now it's 400 minimum cash flow these days for at least 5 years of incoming payments. And so that is what has been my business and that's what's kept me afloat. And through all the ups and downs and the market changes and swings, that is what's been keeping me afloat for the last 24 years. And then I got into buying parks, and then I obviously have more mobile homes on land these days. But it's a conveyor belt. Like the deals. This business is awesome because, well, for a number of reasons, but it's just a conveyor belt. Like the same people that I helped back in 2002, I am helping them right now. It is the same people. I mean, not literally the same people, but the same exact situations again and again and again and again. Good people getting into bad situations. The thing that changed, though, is I'm getting better at screening people. I'm getting better at selling homes and keeping good people in them. The market changed, so now we can sell them for cash, and we've been stacking up cash for the last 11 years.
That's great.
And then a couple of my deals have been multifamily, where it's a piece of land and then multiple mobile homes, or I've added mobile homes to the land. But it's a lot of that cash flow. You should have a couple going at any one period of time. There was like a stretch, maybe a 2-year stretch, where I was doing about 4 deals a month, mainly just by myself and in parks. It's always been like a 4-to-1, 5-to-1, 6-to-1, where I'm doing like more deals in parks than on land. Because the ones in parks, they happen so quickly. There's no third-party underwriter. There's no title companies. We're not going through banks. We close in a couple days. We sell them in a week or 2 or 3 after. So these ones in parks or their personal property, they're really quick. And a lot of people, more people have 30 grand than they have 100 grand. So these lower-priced homes, they sell quickly when you're in the right area. I think I definitely trailed off maybe from those couple of examples, but I can certainly tell you more.
That's great. What's an example of where you're like, man, it almost made you quit, but you said, no, I'm going to keep going?
Man, what is it? For mobile homes, I'm sure there's got to be a bunch of them. I can think of a lot of funny stories, but those were more like just funny and not like I was going to quit. After the first couple deals, I was hook, line, and sinker in these. I had some bad deals where like I didn't have X-ray vision, and I still don't, but the house was like filled with mold, and so I had way more expenses than I thought, or I couldn't sell it for nearly as much as I thought. But as far as ever quitting, I did have bad examples. The mobile homes have always kept me afloat. They've always been good to me, but I have gotten greedy. And like after Hurricane Katrina, I went and tried to do some new construction. I tried to work with a couple guys that I didn't really know well in another project for this multifamily. And whenever I tried to go away from mobile homes, that's when I've gotten burned. My credit's taking a hit.
You just got to stay focused, right?
And so just staying focused on the mobiles. And there's so much to do in this space. So wanting to quit, probably. I remember for the longest time, one of my sayings up on the wall, and it's not here anymore, but it was every day there's a struggle. And it just reminded me that, you're building something for 5 years. And I have this one up here. If you will do what others won't for the next 5 years, so you can live tomorrow like other people can't. So I knew just if I busted my butt for 5 years or more, I would be able to have a better life moving forward. So I knew there was a struggle, but it was still way easier than working. Like I knew that I didn't want to work until I was 60 or 65, 70 or, so I just knew that this was a way easier. Even if it was terrible that day or I was crying over something, it's like, that is still way better. I know I'm on the right trajectory. Mobile homes have already proven themselves.
Just use the saying that instead of I have to do this, I get to do it, right?
I didn't think of that at the time, but that would have been better. Yes. Yeah. That would have been much better.
All right, that's good. So, hey, I love that the business is so good that really there's not much to make you want to quit, but that's awesome. Let's talk about your business model. So for somebody hearing it for the first time, how do you actually make money with individual mobile homes? I think you've kind of touched on it a little bit, but let's dive into it a little bit more of the tactical details of how you actually make money.
Sure. Real simple: buy low, sell high. That's one sentence right there. But with mobile homes, everyone is different. So the person listening to this, I would say, if I'm talking to someone, you might be a millionaire that wants to put your millions into parks or something, or like you're doing this big stuff. But the person I'm talking to is, they don't have maybe a lot of money, or they don't want to use it, or they're frugal, but they want, 5, 10, 20 extra grand in their pocket in a month or two. They want cash flow of a couple, $5,000 a month coming in, but they don't have a ton of money. So I guess the person I'm talking to when you ask that question, Robert, is, okay, how do we find the quickest, easiest, safest dollar? And it's not going to be mobile homes that like come with the land necessarily. It's not going to be moving mobile homes onto land and setting them up and selling it and flipping it like I know you do, which is great, but that does require more work, getting the land.
More work, more money. Yeah.
Right. So, if I'm talking to just an avatar that is, I want the quickest money, the easiest money, the safest money, I'm not a millionaire, so it's going to be either a mobile home in a park, surprise, surprise, or a mobile home that must be moved because somebody wants it moved. And so either one of those deals, we are going to, and this is very high level, but it's, to answer the question and for people to understand that there's no magic, or the magic is hard work and consistency. We're buying a property significantly under value because it is a mobile home, and we're buying it from an emotional seller that has a hardship, and they're in a park. And if we don't help them, they're going to be evicted or lose their home, because the park evicts people. Lot rent is due every single month around the country, and lot rents are going up and people can't afford things. So they're definitely going to lose the home. So we buy the home for a very good price. We know what we can sell it for. If you buy a home and flip it, you want to double your money minimum. So buy it cheap, buy it low, and sell it. Have your buyer in mind when you sell it. If selling a home is the easiest part, if you're trying to gouge a buyer or manipulate a buyer, or how do I fake somebody into buying my overpriced home? That's difficult. What's not difficult is selling a good deal. So if you get a good deal, if you buy a great deal, you can sell a good deal very quickly and make a lot of money. And we don't get rich on any of these one deal. We're always looking for the next seller. And there's so many mobile home parks around you. We can do a quick exercise, Robert, and I can show the folks watching how to find hundreds of parks around them in a matter of a few seconds. And that's where the homes are. That's where the opportunities are. Maybe not every month in Park A, but if you talk to park, 100 parks, yeah, it's going to be like popcorn. Every month there's different kernels popping in every one of these parks, and they need help. The park managers are sometimes lazy, or they're overworked. And then that's homes in parks, homes on land that have to be moved. We buy them, we keep them where they are, we flip them, and we're doubling our money. This is, folks I work with, we aim for 6 figures. We aim for the low 100,000 in net profit in our first year. Some people think these mobile homes are, they're like, oh, and I love saying this to other investors, when I'm pitching, hey, send me your mobile home leads, other house flippers. I'm like, you don't want that. I'll take the skinny crap, the scraps that you guys don't want, and if I make something, they're not big deals. I'll give you a couple $100, but in reality, these deals are very lucrative. So anyway, going back, that's, buy low, sell high. The deals are in the parks. We can talk to the managers. We can do some marketing. Most of the time, you're not going to find deals on Facebook. So if people are like, I'll just go to Facebook and find something and talk them down half price. They're asking 20, I'll buy it for 10. I'm a excellent negotiator. I just, that's not the way to do it. Just because you talk them down half price on Facebook doesn't mean anything. We stopped most of our deals now are off-market properties. The early 20 teens, that's when we were doing more stuff on Facebook, buying them from Facebook. But right now, the folks listening, that's not where you're going to find most of your deals. That's overpriced market properties that
that's
you
good
should
advice.
not keep buying them on Facebook. Yeah.
That's good. So why do you think this niche is the niche to focus on over traditional real estate?
Oh, that's a good. I know my answer, but I feel like I've been doing this for so long that my answer is either going to come out biased, or I just have had my head in the sand with mobile homes for so long, just because there's so much to do. But affordable housing is amazing. Mm-hmm. We're dealing with, like I said, there's very little underwriting or banks needed. We're dealing in a niche that isn't saturated. There's parks everywhere. There's even more mobile homes on land. We can go up. You can start with the individual mobiles and then work your way up like you did, Robert, or you just started there at parks, buying the entire parks, which is wonderful, which I think is like the end goal. Like if you're getting into parks, a number of the folks I work with, they do have an end goal. Or rather, if you get into the homes, they want to eventually buy the parks.
I mean, eventually build up the cash flow to then have the down payment to buy the park, right? And you know the game of buying and selling homes inside of parks then at that point.
The only thing I've changed is that building up the cash. Like prior to 2015, you're right, it would have been just cash flow. But now it's like, hey, do 10, 20, 30 individual mobile home deals somewhat quickly, raise 100, 150 grand. That'll put you in a better spot for the parks. Plus, keep doing your mobile home business. You're still going to infill your community. You've already built up relationships with those managers. You know movers, you know prices, you have marketing out. So it's like, why would you want to just throw away your business when you start parks? So even when you get into parks, you'll still have this mobile home flipping and
run parallel. Yeah. I love that. All right, let's talk about, you've been doing this for a long time. Let's talk about your purpose.
Like that.
And I imagine that has changed over the years. But at this point, you've been doing this a while. What actually drives you day in and day out?
Oh, man, it has changed over the years. I mean, from the very beginning, when I was on that first deal that I was telling you about with that woman, I talked her down from 8,000 down to 3 with that mobile home in a park. I remember going home that night and crying in front of the mirror, and my girlfriend at the time. And I was just crying because I didn't I thought that's what investments had to be. It was a win-lose thing. I had to win for this old lady to lose. And so I felt bad. Like I knew I could have the deal was good at 8, but I just kept working her down to 3. And I didn't know, because I didn't know that, as a 19-year-old, when to stop pushing, when just to do the deal, what was too greedy, what wasn't too greedy. And so I cried because I'm like, I don't want my business to be like this. I want to actually help people. And so and I'm just telling you that because that's where I started as an attitude, like not knowing anything. And then fast forward all these years, helping people and growing and building a business. Right now, I have enough. Like mobile homes have provided enough for me, between the mobile homes, between the parks. And this business keeps you humble. Like we know the people we help, good people that are in like down and out situations.
Yeah.
We're helping, we're educating people. And so personally, that's a big part of it right now. I have enough. So I'm not my, get rich quick, or I guess like that hierarchy of needs kind of thing. Like I want to help people, and I've wanted to since I got started in this business, but it feels amazing to be able to help people that I know. When I had that fire inside of me when I was working at Altel and I didn't have any direction, and now I can actually help people. And I mean, I still run my business. I still have parks that I'm buying. I still have homes that I'm filling up parks and in other people's. And I have the outsourced and automated in some respects. And then I can help people across the country. And I feel like this stuff I can't buy, like this, if I died, I feel like I would be in heaven. I feel like I've really been able to help a lot of people. So I think that's a huge, I'm not sure if that's the answer you were looking for, but as of right
that's
now,
great.
It's genuinely helping people, because I know where I'm at now and where I started from, and even living in a mobile home over the years, and just wanting to give back, and I know that I can do it. And if I can do it, most other people can do it. When we're talking about like other investors, and then helping sellers, we really do help. It's amazing to have people cry. Like that blew my mind the first number of times, whether it was buyers or sellers, to have them cry, and I'm like I don't know what to, my first few times, like I don't know what to do. I'm socially awkward. I don't is this good? Are you happy? And so it changes you. Real estate investing changes you, because you're just it's a crash course in people. Good and bad.
All right, so talk about helping and now scaling and teaching others. Talk to us about your education program and how you teach other people to do what you're doing.
Of course. Well, I hope that on my YouTube channel, You could search John Fedro on YouTube and hope there's enough there just to provide folks that, like, if they watch most things, they can do it for free. They can put the pieces together. They could put, and if you need to reach me, my email's open. I'm not going to ignore you. So I hope that there's enough information people can go and do this themselves. If they do want the hand holding, the thing that I've found insanely valuable is to actually be available for people 24/7, or maybe not 24/7, but like minus sleeping, because that's how real estate works. Real time, you need to get answers, help, and I want to partner on people's deals. My first couple deals when I work with somebody, we partner. I want to look over your shoulder. I want to see what you're looking at. I want to talk to you about every step along the way, due diligence, price, negotiation, and that once people see their first or second deal, I don't have to convince people,
Right.
So it's I'm not sure if that's exactly the answer you were looking for.
No, that's
there's
great.
Obviously training online, but there's no program, even with the best training, and I've taken a lot of it. I've never seen a course that would teach you everything you need to know about Airbnb or wholesaling or mobile homes or anything. You need one-on-one support, period, in my opinion.
You need that interaction.
Or it's going to be a lot of trial and error, which is just going to slow you down, cost you money, cost you a headache. But if you have somebody that actually cares about you on your side, which is what I try to be, I want to be like a huge ROI for people. So
that's huge. All right, so you talked about mobile homes, talked about helping people. As you think about what's next for you, what do you think about? I mean, clearly you love and you're passionate about mobile homes, you're passionate about real estate, but have you thought about, all right, you already told me you have enough, but I imagine you just love helping people, so that's going to continue. But beyond that, what's next?
I wasn't in love with mobile homes when I first got started. That is absolutely for sure. And I always thought that you had to be passionate about something to follow your passion, do what you love. If you do what you love, you never work another day in your life. And I didn't love mobile homes. I didn't even know about them. But the more you put into them and you get to be good at what you're doing and you get to help people, and then you fall in love with what you're doing. So, and mobile homes, I'm lucky that you're able to do so much. The individual trailers, moving them, adding them to land, selling everything, renting the home, renting the land, selling the home on payments, the entire parks. So mobile home is in my DNA now for the rest of my life. I want to keep buying parks, maybe one a year or so. That's about what I've been averaging. So about one a year, keep filling up my parks, keep investing in other people's parks, keep helping people. This is I've worked for this now for just so many years, Robert. So I am really a super blessed, super fortunate and lucky that I'm able to be in the position that I am. What I'd like to do is keep what I'm doing now and still rock mobile homes, still be, the number one mobile home investing teacher online. But I want to focus more on family. I want to focus more on helping kids as well. I have a son now, and when he starts going into school, or maybe helping younger kids getting into, some financial role, something like that. I don't know if I want my whole life to be when I die, oh, that guy was the mobile home guy, which is awesome. But maybe there can be a second, for the next 40 years of my life, I can be it can be something else. So but definitely keep whatever, what I'm doing now, and I love it, and I don't want to, I have another few decades of helping people, coaching and working, and I love doing that. But I think, anyway, separately, I'd like to do more giving back, or for the kids, something with the kids, but not sure. Not sure. You have any suggestions? Let me know.
All right. Let me think on it. I'll definitely be back in touch. But tell us how people can reach you. This has been awesome, and I'm sure people are going to want to reach out, ask you questions. Tell us how to reach you.
Well, thanks for having me here. I hope that I've given people some actionable stuff, or at least yanked some heads out of the sand about used, ugly, old mobile homes, because what's one person's trash is another person's treasure. Mobilehomeinvesting.net is the name of my website, which I hope there's enough info there that people can do deals just by going there. Mobilehomeinvesting.net, or support@mobilehomeinvesting.net is how you can reach me.
Okay.
YouTube.
Awesome,
Robert. Yeah.
Well, John, really appreciate you joining, and I enjoyed the conversation. Of course, I love mobile homes too, but I love your passion and your energy for teaching people, and even beyond teaching people, just helping people, which is really cool.
Oh, thank you. It's like I said, I don't know if it's like this with $1 million homes, but like this business, we meet a lot of good people, and it keeps you humble, and anyway, I'm super I think we both, I mean, I know I'm talking to the choir here, but it's, mobile homes are where it's at.
Well, good deal. Well, hey, thank you for listening, everybody. And if you want to reach out to John, mobilehomeinvesting.net. And John, thanks again for joining us. Thanks, everybody, for listening.